Good evening, everybody. I want to call this regular session of the Columbia County Board of Education to order and welcome all who are present. On behalf of the board and Superintendent Flint, we appreciate your presence and involvement with our school district. Our regularly scheduled board meetings are a time for the Board of Education, Superintendent, and select staff to conduct important business of the school district within a transparent and public format. To ensure that our meeting goes smoothly, professionally, and efficiently, we ask everyone to maintain an appropriate level of decorum at all times. Please abstain from any conduct that would be disruptive or disrespectful. We ask our students, families, and those who have joined us this evening to celebrate special recognitions or recommendations to remain until all acknowledgments and our board comments have been made. Thereafter, we'll take a short break to dismiss those participating in this portion of the meeting. At this time, please silence your cell phones or other communication devices. Again, thank you for being here this evening. I look forward to having a great meeting. Next, we would like to invite to the podium Rabbi Oppenheimer, Rabbi Dr. Seth Oppenheimer of Congregation Children of Israel, for our invocation. Thank you for being here, Rabbi.
Talmudic story. The elders were resting in the house of Netzah in Lod, and the question was asked, which is greater? Is study greater, or is action greater? Rabbi Tarfon answered and said, action is greater. Rabbi Akiva answered and said, study is greater. Everyone then answered, study is greater, but not as an independent value. Rather, it is greater as study leads to action. May we who have our young people's education in our hands give them good lessons to study so that they grow in knowledge and wisdom and they enter the world ready to be free citizens of a republic and ever forces for good.
Thank you, Rabbi. Next, we're honored to have the JROTC cadets from Harlem High School here who are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And before we begin that, I would just like to recognize them. And that's led by Lieutenant Colonel Sampson Sider. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. But our cadets this evening are Donovan Germany Dozier, Connor Grant, Brad Heineman, Bryson Kearns, Maria Rucker, and Josiah Stedman. Give them a big hand. Okay, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Okay, our agenda is approved. We'll turn it over to our superintendent for special recommendations.
Thank you, and good evening, board members. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. I know it's a tough time of year to make it to some of these meetings, but we're glad you're here this evening. Board members, we don't have any special recognitions, which is very rare, but as you know, we've had a whole lot this year already, so we'll take a break and get back to it at our next meeting. But we do need to move on with our hiring, and so tonight we have two special recommendations. And I'm going to start out with our candidate for Lakeside High School Assistant Principal, and I'd like to call forward DeAndre Sanders. Come on up and join us right up front here. Come. Somewhere right in there, because I got to talk about you, and it's going to be really uncomfortable. But thank you for letting us do this and celebrate a little bit with you. Ms. Sanders holds a Master of Education in Educational Leadership from Mississippi College and a Bachelor of Arts in History, Social Science Education from Alcorn State University of Mississippi. She began her teaching career in social science at Claiborne County Public Schools in Mississippi in 2014. In addition to teaching, she also served as the team leader and department chairperson. Ms. Sanders served as Dean of Summer School for 3 years while there, and then she transferred to E3 Civic High School in San Diego, California in August of 2019 to teach humanities. Ms. Sanders has been their Assistant Principal of Instruction and Scholar Support for the last 4 years, and their Principal of Summer School for the past 2 years. I'd also like to acknowledge her sister, who's joining her this evening, if you don't mind standing. She has a twin sister, Darnisha Luke. Thank you for being here as well. So, board members, it's my pleasure to present to you our candidate for Lakeside High School Assistant Principal, Ms. DeAndre Sanders.
Ms. Sanders, welcome to Columbia County. This is exciting for everyone, and Lakeside holds a special place in my heart. I had a bunch of kids that went there, and so it's going to be great to have you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation. So moved. All in favor of accepting the recommendation of the superintendent, please raise your right hand. All right, that's approved. Welcome to the team. Okay.
West Coast, East Coast. Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations. Looking forward to it. Picture time.
I was good. I didn't say anything bad about California.
Good job. Good job. Well done. You'll have another opportunity then. Sorry. I just said that. At this time, I'd like to call forward our candidate for Harlem Middle School Harlem Middle School Assistant Principal, Mr. Andy Tranan. Come on forward. Mr. Tran holds a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Sports Science from the University of Utah and holds a certification in Georgia Educational Leadership, a Master of Education in School Leadership and Administration from Liberty University. Mr. Tran began his teaching career in 2013 at East Hollywood High School in Utah as a physical education health teacher. Over the next 4 years, he served as the physical education health teacher, athletic director, and head basketball coach in a variety of middle and elementary schools in the state of Utah. In 2017, he traveled to China and took a teaching position at Shanghai High School International Division, where he taught physical education and served as the head basketball coach. Mr. Tran moved to California in 2018, accepted a position at Hercules Middle School as the physical education and health teacher, athletic director, as well as the head coach for both basketball and volleyball teams. In 2020, he relocated to Virginia and accepted a position at Forest Middle School and Forest Elementary School, where he continued to teach physical education and health curriculum both online and in the classroom. In 2023, Mr. Tran accepted a position at Evans Elementary School, where he currently serves as the lead physical education teacher and is a member of the leadership team. Mr. Tran also completed the Columbia County Aspired Leaders course in 2024. So joining Mr. Tran this evening, if you could stand, his wife, Lan, and his children, Ari and Avon. Thank y'all for being here. But not shy at all, so that was great. We enjoy that. With the school system, we love to hear kids. So, board members, I present to you our candidate for Harlan Middle School Assistant Principal, Mr. Andy Tran.
Well, Mr. Tran, welcome. We have a series of questions. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'll entertain a motion to accept this recommendation.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, you're approved. We're excited. It's great to have this talent coming from all over the country to Columbia County. And I don't know what brought either you or Ms. Enders here, but we're glad to have you. Look forward to working with you. Congratulations.
Board members, that completes our special recommendation, so I'll turn it back over to y'all for board comments and acknowledgments.
Thank you. And this evening, I would like to start on my far right with Mr. Phil Kent.
Good to see everyone. A light crowd today, which is unusual, but congratulations on the recommendations and our new leadership at these schools. Play a vital role, obviously, in helping our kids get to the next level. And it is neat to see someone that has experience all over the country come here to this area and be able to show off their skill set. So with that.
Thank you very much. Next, on Ms. Katie Allen.
I know I don't see them here, but I want to say thank you to the JROTC team, and they did an outstanding job. I know they were here really working on it, and it speaks to their dedication. So, just recognizing how well they did. And also thank you to just everyone for being here tonight. I know it's a summer evening in July. Half of the town, I think, is probably on vacation still from 4th of July or coming back a little bit groggy, and still have citizens here doing their civic duty and being involved in our board meetings. So thank y'all for that. And congratulations to both Ms. Sanders and Mr. Tran. That's very exciting. We're looking forward to having y'all join us. So thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Sam. Ms. Teasley.
Well, it's kind of a small group, but it's a very powerful group, and we appreciate that. We're looking forward to our new administrators and the great things that you're going to add to our schools, and we appreciate that. It is summer, and people are on vacation, but we know that people in this building are getting us cranked up for the coming year, and we appreciate all that you're doing here. So we're looking forward to a great 25-26 school year. It's going to be another good one, even better than before. We're just going to keep on making it good. So thank you all very much. And Rabbi, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate that. And we are endeavoring to teach our students to study for good purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Teasley. And Ms. Christy Baker.
Welcome everybody to our meeting tonight, and Rabbi, thank you. That was a great message. It really meant a lot, and I think we can all take something and learn from your message and apply it to what we do every day. So whether we're teaching kids or in our workforce, great message. Little hidden fact about me is I was born on the West Coast, so we're kind of neighbors, sort of, before y'all decided to move to the East Coast. Grits or no grits? No grits? Okay, well, Mr. Tran, we'll work on you. Maybe late Harlan, right? Harlan can work on some grits for you. So we'll get that going. Maybe some collard greens too.
I'll cook some. I'll look down the road.
Yeah, we'll make you some grits. But thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Again, congratulations to our new administrators. Look forward to seeing the great work that you do. Thank you, Rabbi, for your message. And at this time, we'll take a short pause. If anyone would like to dismiss themselves, is welcome to exit at this time.
As people are leaving, Mr. Dean.
turn it back over to Dr.
Thank you, board members. We're to that point in the agenda for the consent items. If there's any individual items you'd like to remove for discussion, let us know. If not, we would recommend approval of the consent items as presented.
Motion approved.
All in favor of approval of consent items 7A through F, please raise your right hand. Okay, that's unanimous.
We're also at that time where we need to talk about the adoption of the 2025 tax digest millage rate, and this is going to be a little bit different than we've had before. The final rollback rate was calculated by the tax commissioner office, and it came in at 16.234. When accepting the rollback rate, as y'all know, and we haven't gone with this before, the only requirement is that we publish the 5-year history document in the paper and on our website, which we've done, gave you all that information. Adopting the rollback rate will generate approximately $3.8 million in less revenue than budgeted, bringing the budgeted deficit of FY26 to approximately $5 million. And we had some very good discussions on this over the last couple of months with the budget. And we know that is a feasible thing that we're able to do. And so that millage rate of a 16.234 is what we're going to be recommending. And I'll let Mr. Casado go through the presentation. But just one note of that, that would be the lowest millage rate that we've seen in at least 35 years in Columbia County. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Casado. He can take us through some of the details and some of the required forms, and then we'll make that recommendation for y'all to take up in just a few minutes.
Good afternoon. So as Dr. Flynn introduced, we are at that time where you get to decide and adopt a millage rate to fund the FY26 budget. So the first slide here is an exact screenshot of how that rollback rate is calculated. We had a question, I think, Ms. Allen, at the last meeting, at how exactly that rollback rate is arrived. And the tax commissioner's office does this. We don't, and they hand it over to us. And so just running through it quickly, that top portion looks very similar to the 5-year history. It's just a snapshot of the different categories of the digest exemptions. And then there's a formula down in the second half that calculates what that rollback rate must be. The rollback rate is calculated based on the reassessment of existing real property this year. It determines the millage rate you would have to set to levy roughly the same property tax revenue as last year on existing property, the property that was in the digest last year. And again, as you can see, that rollback rate was calculated at 16.234. This slide, we all know, this is an updated 5-year history. It's really, 2025 is the digest we're considering tonight, and then the 5 years prior. This is what was also published in the newspaper and on our website. So near the bottom, you will see the total taxes levied each year, as well as the net tax increase and percent increase from the prior year. At the rollback rate of 16.234, the district would receive 2% more in property tax revenue than the year before, and that's due mostly to growth in the digest. And if you think back to budget, it's pretty accurate. We built that 5% on 3% reassessment and 2% growth. And that's what we're left with there when you plug in the rollback rate. As Dr. Flint mentioned, and we've seen this before, this is the history of the school district's millage rate since 1989. The board, again, you brought down the millage rate over the last 4 years at the current rate of 17.1. A millage rate of 16.234 will be lower than what you see there in 1989. And I'm looking to find records, I'm sure I can find them, that go back before that to see just how far back it goes, but what I've had immediately available only goes back to 89. So 35 or so years lowest total millage rate. Another familiar slide, we talk about exemptions often. It shows a breakdown of each state and local property tax exemption, along with the total amount exempted across the county for each. The far right column calculates the property tax revenue reduction for the school district at 16.234 mils for each. And so at the bottom, you can see the monetary impact of these exemptions on property tax revenue at just below 31.7 million. So then that's relatively in line with what we've seen in previous years. This slide before you is familiar as well. It's the budget that you passed in May. As Dr. Flint mentioned, the rollback rate will generate approximately 3.8 million less revenue than budgeted. And so that'll bring you a total budgeted deficit of around $5 million. As discussed during the budget process, we have a unique opportunity now to fund a deficit with our fund balance, and I think it's a good way to do it. So pending any questions at this time, we recommend adopting the rollback rate of 16.234 mils for the 2025 digest year.
I did have a quick question.
Well, let's get a motion and a second on the
Gonna
floor.
add it to the discussion part. Okay.
Is there a motion to accept that recommendation?
Second.
All right, the floor is open. Ms. Sal?
I just wanted to clarify, I was looking at, for the South particularly, a 2% inflation rate. Is that about what y'all were calculating for the CPI?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere between 2 and 3%. Last I saw, the South is a little bit lower than the national average, which was at 2.8 last I saw.
Okay, so this millage rate would put us in line with it.
Pretty close.
Well, I have a lot of questions or discussion points for the board necessarily, but not necessarily for Alex. So I'll back off if anybody wants to ask Alex before I cross over for the full discussion.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion?
So that would put, to me, our local sources would then be dropped down to reduced by about 3.8 million, correct? To show roughly 153.6 million under the local sources now for our budget.
All right, I think that's a good thing to ask.
That's what he said. He said
I didn't bring my calculator.
I'm just making sure my numbers are correct. That the local sources would drop 3.8 million, and that would reflect in the total estimated revenue dropping 3.8, and that would give us that slightly over $5 million deficit, right?
Correct, and it'd be in local sources is where you'll see the reduction.
Okay. So I guess my question for the board is, will we be doing an amended budget then to reflect these changes, to show that our revenues, or anticipated revenues will be decreasing?
Again, that's an Alex question.
Traditionally, yes, we would bring you that amended budget, that budget amendment to reflect what we actually think we're going to bring in local sources now that the millage rate has been passed.
Okay, so that was kind of what we had talked about when we went into the budget, that once we set the millage rate, then we'll do another final budget, if you will, an amended final budget. Okay, and my next question is, for us as a board, how do we plan to cover that $5 million deficit next year and subsequent years?
All right, we're using our very, very healthy fund balance. Cover that deficit this year. Next year, we'll see where we are, and we'll make our decisions according to whatever's best for the school district.
I'll make a couple of notes on that. As we talked about when we were going through the budget process, we do have a healthy fund balance, so that will allow us to take it out of there. But also, we have a number of relatively one-time, I said one-time, but some of them would span 3 years or so, expenses that will end after that 2 to 3 year period. So it's not an ongoing cost. You wouldn't want to run a deficit if you're increasing positions and paying for an ongoing expense that wouldn't end. But as y'all would recall, as we presented that to you, we have a number of those over the next couple of years that will end. Now, we might have to talk about the building program and things like that over the next couple of years. But budgetary, we look out 5 years, and Alex and his folks do a great job of that. As a matter of fact, these numbers that are the actual numbers represent really close to what he estimated that you approved at the last meeting, which was, I thought, says a lot for kind of where we are and what our business department is able to do. So, I think we're, as Mr. Sato said, we're in a unique position. It is something that can come out of the fund balance. I don't know that we would be able to do that year after year, but looking at the 5-year projection, we're able to do that now. So I think that may answer your question.
So it's my understanding that when we say operating expenses, some of those in our operating expense budget are not necessarily recurring expenses.
Yeah, I think one of the examples on that would be the technology piece that was $3 million, and so that's a good example of something that is being funded, and it'll be an ongoing over a couple of years, but it will end after that. And so I think that would be one example. There's a number of others.
So do we need to replace the technology we buy as far as a replacement schedule to where that becomes a recurring expense?
So we have a replacement schedule. I know Mr. Van Meter's not with us this evening, but we have that kind of set in that ongoing 5-year budget, and maybe Mr. Sutter, you can talk more to that, but we've been doing that for many years. A lot of the expenses right now are over and above what we're needing to do with the regular replacement items.
I think, thinking back to budget, the $3 million we're talking about a year for the next few years is specifically focused on door access controls, getting those upgraded and installed in all our buildings, as well as upgrading cameras and just doing a full assessment of what we need, especially in line with all the new laws that have been passed around school safety here in the state of Georgia. And so once that's established, then that does become a recurring, on a replacement cycle of itself. It is a little bit different of a replacement cycle than, let's say, Chromebooks, which are about 5 years, if you're lucky. But that will also be established and become part of the annual budget process each year once we get to a good baseline.
So the instructional devices are already on a replacement program and part of the ongoing budget plan.
Yes.
Okay, whereas this $3 million that will expire this year was for special technology needs, and that won't be a recurring expense.
Just a replacement, right? Like once you get into the replacement cycle, that'll end up becoming your recurring expense, but not at the level necessarily of $3 million or whatever it is a year to get it to the standard we need it to be.
So we can confidently say that $5 million that we're taking from the fund balance is not something that we anticipate being a recurring expense next year?
Not unless we decide to do the extra another $3 million as we discussed during the budget process in order to continue those safety and security upgrades across the district. Once that goes away, I don't think that we'll be forcefully budgeting into a deficit every year through revenue growth or expenditure reduction. If we absolutely had to do that, we could get the budget to where we're not budgeted into a deficit each year.
And I know we talked about it extensively. I'm still of the position that from the last 4 years, we've seen consistently higher revenues than we budgeted, around 11% coming from primarily state, federal investment earnings. For example, state just increased the QBE for teachers effective this year, so that would theoretically be reflecting in our budget. So I see some room for us to cover that $5 million gap potentially. We'll just have to kind of see how that goes. Plus, we've done the transfers to the building program over the last few years that have been, I think, around $60 million total over the last 3 to 5 years. So I do believe revenue is coming, even if it's not currently reflected in our budget. But if we find next year or this coming year that this revenue does come in higher than what our budget is currently showing and closes that $5 million gap, for the board, what are our priorities of how we would allocate that money? Would it come from the fund balance, that we won't reduce the fund balance first? Would it go to teacher stipends? Would we go back to that needs list and start bringing things in that we weren't able to approve, such as, you know, the sped paralegal?
I'm not interested in discussing a bunch of hypotheticals.
Yeah, budget.
I don't know what's going to happen here, you know, but I am feel very good about being able to, for the first time in my history on the board, to accept a rollback rate. And so we're in a unique position to do it. And I have no concerns about the budget next year. And I wouldn't make any commitments about what we're going to do with any other monies at this time until I hear more about what's needed and what our superintendent recommends.
So they put a lot of time into asking the department heads what they need and what they want, and that wish list is kind of, whatever you want to call it, wish list, is presented to us in a kind of a very small form. And that's kind of what we go off on building the budget, and that's what Mr. Beagle and things, Teasley are saying, correct?
I think in terms of,
Y'all's presentation for us.
I think in terms of this budget for this year, is there any other information that we need to make a well-informed vote on this budget?
I would like to know as a board,
We've already adopted this budget.
Right. Is there any other information that we need in order to make a clear decision on the millage rate?
I think it's important to always, as we set a millage rate, look 3 to 5 years in advance to ensure that we're not setting a favorable millage rate this year and then increasing taxes next year and going to both extremes because we didn't plan ahead. And so I want to make sure that even as I'm, you know, jumping and dancing for joy at such a low millage rate, that is certainly what I want. I don't want us to yo-yo back and forth to extremes next year. And that
Sounds
means
like you're advocating for a higher.
no, that's the wrong question. I'm advocating for a higher millage rate. I'm advocating for sustainability. That's always been my stance for budgeting practices.
And we have a proven history.
I think if you look at our past budgets, sustainability is not an issue. I think we have all the information we need tonight to make a decision on the millage rate before us. I'd like to call the question.
So when will we,
Okay, we got a motion, a second, call the question.
You might want to make a couple comments. I didn't have a chance to have a conversation. May if I could? I think it's historic, obviously. Never done before. I think it's a wonderful thing. I do think it's important to look out a couple of years, more than 2, 3, 4 years to see where we're going, particularly with our expenses. There's unintended expenses. We've never been through a building project like this where we've built so many things before at one time. It's obviously, when you go into uncharted waters like that, I think it's important to consider the unintended expenses of projects that haven't completed yet when we're talking about going into, you know, voting a historic millage rate rollback. I love it. I think it's awesome. I do want to, Dr. Flint brought up the building program. We need to discuss it more. I think we do. I don't want us to find things, those unintended expenses, when we're still doing projects and go, oh, wow, we're $5 million deficit, and we turn around and we find out we're 8 or 10 because of something that we incur during the building program for existing projects. That is my biggest concern, and I hope that we can address it together.
I'll just say, you know, we've had a pretty good experience in not seeing any overruns. I mean, of the way we're doing these projects, we've been right on within contingency. We haven't had any issues for many years. I certainly haven't seen any. So I'm not concerned about that. We do have to have a discussion about that. Obviously, we have a number of funding mechanisms, and that'll be fully vetted as well. It won't be something that'll be a surprise to us. I would not anticipate a surprise of $5 to $8 million ever showing up, and I don't know, Mr. Casado, if you've ever seen that. We project out at least 5 years. The building program's projected out 25. We're planning for a long way in the future. So
Harlem was $80 million, for example, and we projected what Lakeside was how much when we first started with Lakeside. You said what was Evans when we first started, and what did those become?
Those went with inflation, and so they followed the inflationary, and we came back and we had those discussions at the time and have been able to fund it without any surprise to the budget every year. And without increasing it, the board has actually been able to decrease the millage rate each one of those years. So the commensurate rise that we saw with inflation of the building program, we just had to make some adjustments to the building program. That's how that's going to happen. You might not be able to do quite as many projects or get started on the next project quite as early. That's kind of how that would end up playing out. And there's probably a number of other things Mr. Casada would talk about. But we do have some time that we're going to be talking over the next couple of months about the funding of the next phase of the building program.
That's perfect. That's really my only concern. I love the rollback. I think it's a beautiful thing. We're able to do this.
I'm concerned.
We vote on that. We call
Well,
it.
we
I'm-
call for the question.
There's something that needs to be addressed here. There was a
All
message
in
that we
favor?
would be doing a transfer to the building program.
There is
It
a
needs to
motion
be
on the
said.
floor. The call for the question. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? All right, we had 3 votes in favor.
Do we need to revote that?
All right, all in favor of calling the question, raise your right hand. All opposed?
I'd like to hear what the question is.
Calling for the question is a motion to end debate. It's not debatable.
Well, I'll agree to, but I'm making it clear that I would like a good question and it wasn't allowed.
We're through with debate. Okay.
This is an important issue, you know. Probably one of
We
the-
have nothing else to do
I
tonight.
don't know why you're so quick to hit the gavel. I'm not really understanding that.
Well, I did that because she was talking over me.
I apologize for any disrespect.
And
Have to
so,
speak
you know, we'll have, the superintendent just indicated, we're going to be talking about this a lot in the coming months. And, we have fully debated the issue of whether or not to accept the rollback rate.
We have not, that's why it was called.
You said earlier you were in favor of it. Are you?
I misunderstood the vote. I thought I misunderstood the question, that's why I asked for it to be respoken. But there is more discussion to be had. We have nothing, we have a very light agenda tonight. This is affecting the whole county.
Debate has ended. We voted to end debate. Majority voted in favor of ending debate. Now for the vote. All in favor of accepting the rollback rate of 16.2334 mils as recommended by the superintendent, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none. All right, the rollback rate is adopted.
Okay, thank you, board members. Looking forward to the future discussion on that. We'll move on to item number 9, which is the referendum for the resolution for House Bill 783. Again, this is another area that is going to be a savings for homeowners in the county if it's approved. But Governor Brian Kemp has signed House Bill 783, which was proposed by the Columbia County Board of Education during this year's legislative session. The bill increases the $2,000 homestead exemption required by state law to a total exemption of $10,000, which is an obviously additional $8,000 for eligible Columbia County homeowners. This measure reflects a strong commitment by the Columbia County Board of Education to balance educational excellence with fiscal conservatism. The exemption will only take effect if approved by voters in a local referendum in November of 2025. If passed, it would be applicable to all taxpayers beginning on or after January 1st of 2026. So we recommend approval for the referendum resolution for House Bill 783 as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the referendum, please raise your right hand. All right, that's unanimous. I'll sign the resolution.
Thank you, board members. We'll move on to board policy, BAB, school board governance. As you know, we've been working on a plan of action to support student achievement, and the academic and operational accountability is part of the excellence in governance trainings through Georgia School Board Association. We plan to leave this policy on the table for further review and bring it back to you at the next meeting, which is a work session. But would be happy, I know we've talked about this numerous times, I'd be happy to have any additional discussion about this policy tonight or in the coming weeks before the next board meeting. We'll keep making those adjustments. As those adjustments come, we'll update the listing on the table so the public can see it if that happens. And then, if possible, we'd recommend approval at the next board meeting. But if you have any questions or statements about that, thank you for your good work on that. A lot of work has gone into this, and we're looking forward to kind of starting this year out using this policy.
We're going to motion for discussion, or is this just?
We don't have to approve anything, it's just on the table
Okay.
now. We're just kind of putting it out there for everybody.
I was just curious, I mean, it says it's a new policy, correct?
Right, it is a new policy.
Okay, and what was kind of the background to what prompted this policy?
The-
Stressing,
This
or
is what we discussed in Savannah.
this policy right
This
here?
is part of our work at the Institute. We were looking to, our capstone, where we were looking to increase student achievement and close the gap.
Okay, so this is a policy that reflects the
And we-
capstone
And
project.
Dr. Flynn presented a way to provide the accountability to show that that was being done, and accountability is measured. And once they have achieved the goals that are established by Dr. Flynn and all the staff working together, then they will be given the more decision-making and more flexibility in their realm of operation to do what they feel is best to continue to improve student achievement and close the gap, so that we're all moving in the same direction, which is more student achievement, fewer gaps in achievement, which is what we need to be doing. So it's a good start. It just takes a while to read it and digest it.
No, I didn't make that correlation, that binder, right, you're talking about?
Right, yeah.
Okay, with those, and then those are the evaluation tools, because that was another question, was the evaluation tool. Okay, I can place it now, so thank you for that.
I will say, this is something that a few other school boards have done across the nation, and all that I know anyway, I'm sure there are some that maybe have been focused on this that haven't seen this, but boards of education that are involved in academic achievement and kind of the requirements of that in the district have seen very good results because of that. In my mind, it goes back to myself as a superintendent being focused on our core business. We're here for a reason, and that's mainly teaching and learning. We have some operational requirements we have to make sure we take care of, but we need to keep our focus on that. As a principal, their focus needs to be on student achievement. Now, there's some operational pieces, and that's why we have that operational accountability in there. But when we get that aligned and it makes it to the Board of Education, then there's really clear alignment, and we can see a good bit of increase like other districts have seen over time. And that is something that now, assuming that this becomes policy over the next course of time as we debate this, then that's something that another board might have to really take into consideration strongly if they were going to change something there. And so kudos to y'all for having these discussions. I want to say that the Georgia School Board Association kind of allowing this and having it funded for boards to do this. Y'all were the first ones selected along with 4 other boards to be a part of this. So this shows a lot of really good governance work. I know we have some debates back and forth on other things, but this is our core business, and if we get this right, we're going to continue to do the right thing for children in this county. So kudos to you. I'm glad you're involved in it. Looking forward to the additional discussion. Any other questions on that? Okay, great.
Thank you for all your work you've done.
Absolutely. Yep, that's what we're here for.
Really great things with that training, and all of that was this team and this administration's work. So thank y'all so much for all you've done, helping that come together.
We do have a human resources update. It's that time of year when hiring is pretty important, and we do pretty well here. And kudos to all of the hiring managers across the entire district. But we're going to let our Chief Human Resources Officer, Mr. Wright, kind of go through where we are with all of this and give us some numbers. We're gonna have even better numbers, I'll bet you by the next board meeting, because we get a little bit closer to the opening of the school, but it is good numbers so far. So, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Dr. Flint. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for the opportunity to update you on our talent management preparations and operations for school year 25-26. Before I do that, I would like to quickly say that I thought we did a pretty good job last year in managing the district's talent, and we look forward to more of the same in the coming year. I would also like to add special thanks to you for the resources, opportunities, and support you provided to us in making this year a success, and to Dr. Flint for his confidence and support of us as well. Okay, this slide is a pretty good picture of where we are right now, and it gives you an idea of what we're looking at. It's really not an accurate portrayal of what's going on, because what we expect to happen is a little bit better than what we're showing, because we've got talent in the pipeline that's moving through the system. But I like to show you the worst case scenario as we have it right now. So this is what I would say is what's currently on the ground. The key metric that I want you to focus on, though, are the fill rates for the certified and non-certified talent categories. These rates incidentally mirror what they were a year ago, which postured us for a successful school year. While I will caveat operations for school year 25-26 with the axiom, past performance does not guarantee future success, it has always been our expectation to be better in the future than we are currently. As we look to make continuous improvement in school year 25-26, there are opportunities, once again, which lie primarily in the area of special education. This is an area where for several years we have increased staffing to meet the demand, only to have demand increase unexpectedly throughout the school year. But we've got some things in place, we're working on some fixes that we think will get us through this like we have in the past. And these things crop up cyclically for us. Last year was early childhood, which was kind of surprising to us a couple years ago with special ed. Right now, it's deaf and hard of hearing, which is a problem for us. And it seems like when we get one deaf child, we have to staff it with one adult. So that's a strain, but we're working on some fixes for that. Like the superintendent said, the next 4 weeks are going to be big for us. We'll work hard towards making sure we get all our vacancies filled. And subject to your question, the superintendent said there was only one question you all could ask me, so I'll be done. Any questions for me?
We're glad you're back.
Good to be back.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. And those percentages and numbers, are not seen really across the state. So we're very fortunate to be here. We want to be a place where people want to come to work, and so that takes all the staff and all the hiring managers, all the schools. So kudos to all the work you've done on that. Okay, let's move into the building program. We have a little discussion on this already. We do have a little thing like another new school opening this year. Fortunate to be out there this morning, and some of our staff were out there cleaning and getting ready. The furniture was being delivered, and I just can't say enough about the look of the school. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and we've got some pictures that we'll go through. Mr. Beatty, thank you for your work. Kudos to all your work and everything you've done to get this school where it is. Stairwell, look at that. I knew you'd ask about that. I wanted to get that picture. This is just for you. Just so yeah, it's ready to go, right?
We have to see the elevator too.
All the cabinets are in, and things are really looking good out there. And a lot of hard work has gone into this, as y'all know. We put these both of them, Westmont, North Columbia, on pretty tight timelines, and we're able to really get there this year. So we're looking forward to moving the school over there in the next couple of weeks. A little bit of work left to do, but before I move on to the next schools, I wanted to give Ms. Jackson a minute to come forward just to talk about the timeline and the move-in and all of that. Opening a new school is a challenge, and as y'all know, we went through redistricting 2 years ago with a phased approach. I want to give a kudos to Ms. Jackson on a great plan there. We're seeing the numbers hold. We're going to fill up the school, and it's going to work really well. We've heard very positive things. So if Ms. Jackson, you can go through some of that timeline, some of the work you've been doing to get us into the school and ready, I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Flint, and good evening. I am happy to share the transition timeline for North Columbia Elementary. The students and staff are so excited about the transition to the new school building. During the week of July 7th, furniture is starting to arrive, started yesterday, and it will continue to arrive throughout the week. The administrative staff will start transitioning and moving next Monday and Tuesday, but if you know Miss Gambrell, you know she has not missed a day going over there and eyeballing that school, and her staff working hard to look, but they can officially start moving in next week. FMO will also start moving teacher belongings and educational materials that have been stored in the current facility, starting next Monday and Tuesday, and we'll probably start as early as this Thursday and Friday moving in, depending on how the week progresses. So, very excited about that. Ms. Gambrell had her staff label all the boxes with their new room number before leaving for the summer. So they're organized and ready to move into their new spaces. That's been a luxury of having a school right beside one we're moving into, because it makes that transition much easier. Teachers will have the option of seeing their new classroom and setting it up beginning July 17th and 18th, next Thursday and Friday. Certainly it's optional, but I anticipate every one of them getting in there. Again, Ms. Gambrell and Ms. Jones have a plan for teachers to move in by location with set hours so that it's organized, and we do not impede on any work, last-minute items that are going on with a bunch of visitors and people going in and out. So that will be very well planned out. Pre-planning officially begins on July 28th for teachers, with open house on July 31st of that week. Students will be welcomed into their new building on August the 4th, which is the first day of school for all of our students in the district. And then we're planning on having the official ribbon cutting ceremony right now on Tuesday, August the 19th. And more information will be available about that exciting event as we progress and get closer in the next few weeks. So I have a granddaughter that's going to be a 5th grader at North Columbia Elementary. So she is so excited about moving in every day. She asks me if we can go look at it. So, and I think they all feel that way.
Remind me, have we rezoned any children?
Yes. We have. We did that 2 years ago, like Dr. Flint mentioned. Uchi Creek and North Harlem both will be relieved of some students and will transition over. And they've known about it, and that's gone very smoothly too. They've received all the letters, and the kindergarten roundup information night they attended, so they've all received their letters welcoming them, and bus routes have gone, knock on wood, very well, relocating the bus routes and making sure that our students are picked up, so it's exciting times.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for all of that. And as y'all know, the work on the ground is where it happens. And we were noticing, they didn't have to all be here tonight, but I think we've got the whole cluster here this evening, don't we? We got Ms. Gambrell, we got Ms. Culpepper, Ms. Jurgen, Ms. Reed, and Casey Dees, Mr. Dees. A lot of work in transitioning students from one school to the other and opening a new school. So Ms. Gambrell, have fun with that, but I know it's a lot of work. You're trying to get in there already. I think I've seen you sneak over there a couple of times, but
Just one or two.
yeah, it's a beautiful school, and thank you for you and your staff and everything you're doing for the whole Harlem cluster. Congratulations on a beautiful school, and it's just going to add what you already have great out there. So thank y'all. Okay, that's North Columbia Elementary School. We'll move on, just some updates before I get into this picture. Brookwood and Riverside, we've been working on the fire alarms out there. We're expected to have those complete by next week. We also mentioned Brookwood Elementary installing Allen Middle parking lots. I was able to drive around those a little bit this week, and those are done. Look very good. As you know, they were pretty rough, so that'll be really nice for all the students and parents to start back the school year with new parking lots and driveways. Moving on to Lakeside and the picture, just to reorient ourselves a little bit, the Performing Arts Center additional classrooms, band and chorus rooms on the left-hand side are going to be open at the start of the school year, as well as the classrooms on the right side of the building. We have some additional classrooms and science rooms over there. We also renovated many of the classrooms on the inside of the school, and if you were there 3 weeks ago, it was just a disaster inside. It's amazing what the crews can do over a really short period of time. What you see on the back right is where all the trailers have been removed, is the grading, and that's complete. Are you not seeing the same picture?
No, I'm saying, are you sure that's Lakeside? There are no portables.
You were looking at me like, I was like, am I missing the wrong picture or something? But yeah, the portables are gone. That's where the gym is going to go on the back right corner. So the grading's all done, and you see the foundations kind of going in out there. And then kind of the front of the school there. So there's still a lot of work. Did I see Ms. King? Is she still here? Or did she step out? She was here earlier. That front area where the offices were is all demolished now on the inside, and they put up temporary walls. So she had to relocate her and everybody that was in the front office to other areas of the school, and they've done a great job of that. But there's still a lot of cleanup to do. This having school and build additions and renovate classrooms is a challenge for the faculty and staff, and she's done a great job, and the staff is really getting through it very well. So we appreciate all their work. So the front of the school there, that'll be the cafeteria and additional area for the media center, and then the kitchen. So we can go through some more close-ups here, just so you can see them. You have a question? Yeah.
Back to where do tennis courts going? Are they going in that back?
They're on the other side. You can see on the back right, back there already, that they have them back there.
I know. I thought
They've been gone really from the back because we had to put the portables on top of them a number of years ago. So theirs are back over where their other practice fields and baseball fields are.
What's going to be on the mountain where the piece of equipment is now?
That'll be leveled off and with grass.
So walk me through how students are going to get into the building, because they're going to be coming in through the back side.
Both parent drop-off will be on the back, and so we'll have the temporary entrance where that main corridor is outside for students to come in. The front entrance is, if you'll see, kind of the left side, that sidewalk right there. They've relocated that as the front entrance to the school.
So that's student parking lot. Where's the back?
No, the back is the student parking
How are
lot.
they going in?
They'll come down the stairs and then in the doors on the back side of the school.
Back side. So is there
Yeah, those will.
there, or is there going to be?
There will be, and let me just make sure I got that right, because Ms. Jackson's working with Ms. King on that right now, actually, and drop off and buses and all that. But they're going to use those back doors for the check-in and all for students.
Yeah, they'll actually do the front. We started that process last January, where students came in from the back parking lot and came through those doors in the back. And then they go up to the front office, which now we've relocated all over the place, but they'll sign in there. But also, once school starts, they'll go in from the front, parents and visitors, and they will sign in the front offices directly. You go in that sidewalk and it's straight in front. So they'll pick up their student, or if they're dropping them off. The buses will drop off right there. Car riders and student parking will come in the back, but they will still go to a classroom that's now the office to sign in and out.
There'll be an office that does.
And we'll have an SRO stationed at both entrances so that they'll have a smooth transition with and the doors. I call them clicker doors, but the buzzer doors will be at both entrances as well.
Thank you.
So just some close-up photos. It's really looking nice. You see they're finishing out. They've paved kind of the left side parking lot. This is the Performing Arts Center, and we've got the chorus rooms and band rooms and all of that, as well as some new classrooms in that area. This is what I was mentioning, the new dining area. This will end up being the area where the new offices, front offices and entrance will be. You see kind of that raised up area. That'll be where the front entrance to the school will be. But a long way to go. That won't be done for the opening of this school year. That'll be probably December, but still kind of working through that. And then the cafeteria will be at the end of the year, next year. And this is a little close-up of kind of the footings and the site work that they did on the backside there where the gym will go and attach to the school on the backside. Moving on to Evans, really very similar. Evans, again, a very different project because it's a very different site. We had a good bit of work that we needed to do on the inside of the school. We had to disconnect all of the power there. We had temporary HVAC units running, so we had to run entire lines throughout the school for new AC. They're still there right now, working on it. So a lot of disruption. We moved the school operations summer staff over to Evans Middle School. You'll see on the left side is where the Performing Arts Center is. That's coming out of the ground and the block work's getting done. On the right side, the gym is coming together, and then you can see the block work where the dining area and the kitchen and additional classrooms are going to be. A lot of interior work is still going to need to be done over breaks and next summer, but they're working on finishing the floors on the renovated classrooms now, and then cleaning up the whole area. So that'll go on until probably right about when the teachers come back. And so there's a lot of work happening there. This is a look to the right side where the gym is, multi-purpose room and weight room on the back. And this is the back side of that where the cafeteria is going to be. And then they still obviously have a good bit of work and cleanup to do before school starts this year on the back side. And then the Performing Arts Center, kind of from the front. Any questions? Yeah.
Lakeside, is that projected 2027 finish date?
It's projected to be finished completely probably by December of 26, but probably most of it will be done by the end of next summer. Most of it. There'll still be a few leftover things that will need to be done.
And Evans?
And then about a year later for Evans. Year and a half later, right in that area. It was a difficult project, but it's going to be beautiful.
But EHS December 2027.
Can you tell me that final date? I've been going through so much stuff.
Yes, in a perfect world, yes, it's going to be December 2027.
Okay.
You're referring to
After.
Lakeside or Evans?
Evans.
Okay, I thought it was July.
Is that, Tim, I know you're in here. Is it December or summer? Summer?
It's summer.
Summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably summertime of 27. So year to a year and a half later is what we've been saying, consistent, pretty consistent.
Just stay tuned.
Always.
It will be finished.
Okay, moving on to superintendent reports. As you probably have heard, it's in the news a good bit. The last few days anyway, the U.S. Department of Education has not released allocations for several formula grant programs, including some of them that we received. You've probably heard that was upwards of 6.8 or just under $7 billion, which is a good bit of funding. And across the state of Georgia, it's pretty impactful. A little less for us because of the grants and the level of the grants that we receive. I was reading and a number of the numbers across the state, and on average, and as you know, we're the 15th largest school district, so on average, it's been about $250,000 for districts. And of course, some are really high and some are really low, but you'll see that as I kind of go through this, since we're the 15th largest, it really hasn't, even though it's a little more money than that for us, it won't be as large of an impact as a lot of other school districts are going to see. So the grants that we've previously received that are currently on hold, there's 3 of them that we've identified. Title I, Part C, and that's migrant education state grants, and that's really small. For us, it's a really small amount, and so it's really going to be a negligible impact on that one. The Title III, Part A, is the English language acquisition grants, and that will be an impact of a little over, probably, and we don't know because we don't have all the allocations yet, but probably over $100,000. And then Part 4, Title IV, Part A, which is
self-sufficiency. So I just want to thank the leadership for kind of looking ahead in that direction.
It's kind of based on your student population and, your free and reduced lunch numbers. And I know we haven't gotten reason. I don't know that we have necessarily done anything to stop taking. We don't file for a lot of federal grants, but when we do, typically we wouldn't spend those monies on personnel or something like that unless And the event, I thought, really was a great success. We were able to celebrate them in a great way. Typically, we would have those in a gym, and I just thought it was a very memorable occasion for the students. This year with a diploma, and makes a big difference. So thank you for continuing to support our summer programming. Residents across Columbia County can also expect to see our annual Back to School magazine in mailboxes. Sure you get a copy of that as well, but you'll get them in your mailbox as well. Free and reduced meals. We each year we encourage our families to complete this, as Ms. Allen you mentioned. This is an area that not only anybody to go ahead and fill that out. It doesn't cost anything to fill it out. The applications are available on our website. They only need to fill out one per household. They don't have to fill out one per child. All the information is that qualify. We want to make sure that we receive the funding that's applicable that other districts are receiving. Also, want to mention our leadership conference and back to school conference. We are looking forward to both of those. We have in these board meetings that we'll be sharing with them. We've made some amazing progress on our district's strategic plan. We look forward to continuing that progress in the 25-26 school year, and we also look forward to sharing that with all of our designed to help bring awareness to the public that school buses will be back out and about as schools get back in session. We will have some guest speakers from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and others will share remarks about the importance of driving safely in on our bus inspections, and so kudos Dana and your group, and Penny, thank you all for your leadership in that. Board members, this concludes the portion of the meeting. I'll turn it back over to y'all.
We're back in session.
I'd like to make a motion that the chairman be directed to execute an affidavit in accordance with state law, affirming that no subject was discussed during the executive session that violated the open meetings law.
Raise your hand. Thank you.
Also like to make a motion that the personnel sheet as discussed during executive session was approved, or be approved.
All in favor of approval of the personnel sheet, raise your hand. All right, that's approved. Any board items to take up at this time?
I did have a quick board item. So I just want to wanted some clarification on that. Are we planning on doing a transfer to the building program this December?
Let's see how the money looks.
Okay. Is that an expense that we need to amend our budget to show, or would that be an additional gap? I guess where my confusion was with that is we have a $5 million deficit, but yet we're planning on transferring money if it exists. Will that money be used to cover that deficit first?
Maybe I can just have Mr. Casado say something about just to make the right statement about deficit, because we have the money, we're reducing our fund balance, and so can you say that appropriately?
Yeah, I think back to the budget discussions that we had around fund balance, and you know, we probably are going to end this year, if I had to guess, and I'll hold you to it, you know, 25-26% fund balance, and traditionally we want to be around that 20% mark. And so you're looking at, you could transfer even with a $5 million deficit, if the budget plays out that way. You could probably transfer some decent amount of money and still have a good fund balance above the threshold that we traditionally like to keep, you know. So I think we usually see how the budget starts to play out. On payroll, the big 90% of that budget plays out in the first few months of the year. Whether I've missed it entirely, which I certainly hope not, and then make whatever decision you all think is best when it comes to doing something like the transfer. But that transfer, again, it would come off fund balance, right? I think we'd still be within that threshold that we like to be, and then we wouldn't have to do it again in another year if the board chooses not to.
Could you just maybe also mention in running a deficit that the question was we're in a deficit, but the fund balance is more than enough to cover that. So in your language, is that the right way to say that? Are we saying that in the right?
You are addressing the difference in your revenue and expenditures with your fund balance or your savings, for lack of a better term. And even when you do that, let's say it is $5 million is what it ends up being at the end of next fiscal year, you still will have a very, very healthy fund balance to make whatever decision you want. So, state law, we've waived that law, but it says that if you do budget like we did into a deficit, you have to have enough in reserves to balance the budget. And so that's kind of what we have done. And some school districts show it a little different than we do, where they almost like take it out of fund balance and plug it to then show revenues and expenditures equally. But there's nothing wrong, of course, with the way we're doing it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
It does,
Okay.
and I guess just to sum it up is, as we have additional revenue beyond what we've budgeted, we're going to be having some good discussions as a board what to do with it.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the incentive for keeping it down to 20% of fund balance? And that's what we like to be. Is there a specific incentive, from the state or that goes into our formula?
No, sir. There's no incentive necessarily. There's no additional revenue or less revenue that we get depending on our fund balance percentage.
Do we got our hands slapped for any reason for keeping one, as high as it is?
We don't.
I think
when we get bond ratings.
Bond ratings is something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's a couple of areas I'll mention on that. Bond ratings is very important, and we're gonna go back out and talk to the bond rating agencies again later this year. We also have outstanding bonds, so we're paying interest. And so anytime we talk about a transfer to the building program, that could also be seen as a reduction in interest payments over time. And, I think those two things play into the discussion, and it's not easy to take it just tonight and give you all of that because there's so many moving parts. That's why it'll probably go from August through December of that discussion. I hope we'll come to a resolution on what the plan will be by probably before then, maybe September, October. But if not, we'll just keep talking about it until we can get the decision. But I think that's the way you weigh the difference between interest payments or bonds, additional debt service if that's ever needed in the future. But we haven't had to do that. We've been very fortunate.
Have we used some of those transfers in the past to pay additional bond obligations beyond what was annually required? Because I know when I looked at it in the past, it seemed like we made the transfers and paid the annual requirement of bond obligations, but have we gone above that and paid additional bonds early?
Well, I think that goes into that discussion on the one we brought up earlier. Where's your cost and where do you want to put that money? And at the time, the board gets to make that decision. And so when we come to you, that'll be a decision. Do you delay projects? Do you pay off early? Or do you continue the projects and pay a difference if there's an inflationary cost? I think those are all good questions, and they're all questions that come to you as a board, and they're questions that the past boards have really taken very seriously, and I think made very good decisions on.
And have we done that in the past then?
Had those discussions, yes.
So, like paid off additional bonds with those transfers in the past?
Well, we haven't yet because we've done the regular payments because we still have a little ways to go. So you probably wouldn't want to overpay something before you're going to go get, if in fact you end up needing to get additional bonds to do your project. So it still would go into the calculation in the future, though. Absolutely.
How quickly would we have to draw down to get to the health of our bond rating? Like how soon would that need to be done?
So I think it's backwards on that. They'd rather us have a 50%.
The higher your reserve, the better your bond.
So we're trying to get to the 20 percentile, right? Or 20%?
Well, we're just working around that because that's kind of a reasonable area. Government entities all around us have much, much more than that. But we've been, I think if you...
The more money you have, the better the bonds are. I get that. I'm trying to understand. You referenced dropping it down to bond rating, and that's why I didn't understand that.
It would hurt the bond rating if we drop it too far, too fast. It would actually help the bond rating if we left it even higher and we didn't move anything. But as we're seeing, there was a lot of discussion at the General Assembly last year. It came out in 581 that they were really looking at those fund balances, regardless of the level of debt, and wanting to make that kind of a problem for school districts if they're too high. I don't know why they haven't looked at other counties or municipalities, but they're going after school districts with that. And we have a much lower than most other entities. And so that's one of the reasons we don't want to go too high with it, just because we're getting penalized or possibly penalized if we have a large fund balance there.
That's what I wanted to understand. Perfect. Thank you.
If I understand correctly, it's a balancing act of competing interests in a sense, to where you have too high of a fund balance, you're not using your taxpayer money effectively to provide for your daily needs, but at the same time, you get a better bond rating, which saves taxpayer money on interest. Yet each extreme carries with. Okay. So is that a fair statement, understanding of the two sides?
I think so, absolutely.
Okay.
As well as cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow is an issue as well.
As a board, could you maybe send us a cheat sheet of kind of a summary of the things that affect our bond ratings one way or another? Because I think that would be good to go into, just to have an idea as we continue these discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
The only thing, Dr. Flynn, if y'all can just bring up the cell phone, since I wasn't at the last meeting, just how we're going to implement I know, sorry, Ms. Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, I was hoping she was gonna stay out of the room.
And, because I know there's a lot of buzz, even in my Sunday school class.
Yeah, absolutely.
About how are we gonna do this? You don't have to.
Well, let me say a couple of things first, and thank you for bringing it up. We could talk about this a whole lot. The principals have had many discussions, mainly the high school principals, because the law, again, we're trying to get ahead of this. Law doesn't require us to do this until the next year, so we're really going to be trying this out with policy and code of conduct this year, but also taking it past K-8 to high school. We haven't seen a lot of challenge in K-8. A couple of years ago, our middle schools implemented the no cell phones out, and it has worked this last year especially well. So it took them a couple of years to get there. As you as a board have had a policy where no cell phones are out unless it's used for instructional purposes during instructional time and expressly allowed by an employee. And so what we see and what we've learned the last couple of years, and we're continuing to see get worse and worse, is the distraction that comes from a cell phone. So the benefit is outweighed by the distraction. So we have this ability to get the information on our cell phone, but when we get it, we see these texts or Snapchats or whatever may come in, and that becomes more of a distraction. They tell us even one of those pop-ups that comes up on your phone could keep you from regaining your focus for about 20 minutes. So if you think about that, that's a real challenge for our students. So our high school principals have weighed on this and worked on it and have said, you know, we want to do this too. And you as a board said, you know, we need to limit that distraction. And so we've moved to the no cell phone. Now, it's not a lot different than we've had, other than we're not going to let them use them for instructional purposes. And again, back to some of the computer issue, we're going to get to that level to be able to have enough. And we have, Mr. Van Duder's not here, but we have close to 30,000 devices across the district.
How many?
Total. Now, we don't want to assign them to students to do a one-to-one, but we do have enough computers for students to have access when they need it.
So start enforcing it, I guess is my big question.
Yep, so I think I've said kind of the reason behind that, and Ms. Jackson is the enforcer over there, but she's been working on developing this with the principals. They've been a big part of that. You heard from one of our principals that came and spoke at the last meeting, and they're really looking forward to keeping that distraction out of the schools. But let me let her talk for a minute.
I've not heard of anybody that is opposed to it. The comment I hear most frequently is they, not just enforcing, but enforcing consistently. I mean, they want to see it enforced consistently across the district. I think they're worried about it might be enforced at their school, but not another school. And they want to see it enforced from classroom to classroom, students and teachers.
Yes, and that's, we're starting with communicating right now with parents, putting the word out there. It's going to be in the back to school magazine that hits, we send a letter out, but it's going to start during pre-planning. The principals have worked tirelessly trying to get a consistent set of consequences, but also a message to their faculty and staff about enforcing it. So during pre-planning, they're going to walk them through what that's going to look like. Students will have them in their book bag or locker. Either one of those options will be available to them, and yes, electronic devices. And then the thought is to really educate and make sure we're going to give them a warning, but we have to, I hate to use the word stop the bleed, but we have to hit it hard the first few days, because you give them any little latitude, they're going to take advantage of it. And the biggest problem we're probably going to face will be during transition from class to class and in the cafeteria. Classroom, those teachers, if they know that it is a consistent rule that we expect them to follow, they'll rise to that occasion, and the principals are ready to follow up with those who don't, because they're going to make it very clear that it's not optional. This is what you would do. And so we will work with students too to try to walk them through to where we're not seeing a ton of ISS and OSS. It's really going to be more of communicating with parents when they're continue to bring that device in, so that we can make sure that don't turn into Saturday school extravaganza because we've got so many kids in there, so it's, I think it's gonna be, I've been hearing a lot of good feedback, and school districts, I was actually at a safety conference, and school districts, SROs applauded. I mean, everyone is craving this because even with that new bullying, cyberbullying, I mean, people, it's impacting in so many different ways, and I think parents realize that. And we'll make sure that they know too, if they have a safety concern or they need to reach their child, they'll go through that front office. And then the same thing, if the child needs to reach out to the parent, they will certainly be able to use that front office as well.
Which is great for security, yes, that's what's going on.
I might leave you with just one additional thought, which is something that we talk about frequently, but we're talking about the operational piece of this pretty hard, but we'll transition our discussion from this to engaging classroom instruction. Because we really, if we focus on what happens in the classroom at a high level and engaging students in their learning, in addition to other activities at school, whether it's clubs or activities and all these other things, that's the thing that's going to catch their interest. So we're going to continue to work on our ACE and our instructional programming to try to get as many really strong activities. Obviously, teachers do a great job of that, but trying to help them continue to develop their repertoire of activities that is a high level of learning and keep students engaged bell to bell and 180 days out of the school year. I think that's the message we send at the end of the day.
And it's good timing because the network is not going to be accessible to students. I mean, we will not have that availability anymore, so I think it's a good time to roll it out.
I think you really, made a good point of the first few days are going to be the most important for enforcement and enforcing it from all levels of leadership, but you paired that with good communication to the parents, and I think the benefits are going to multiply because the cell phone use is linked with so many things. We're addressing it from the interesting classroom side, but we're addressing it to make students more engageable and able to be engaged because we're transitioning them to a climate where they're not linked to screens, because when you're looking at a screen and a game all the time compared to a teacher, it makes it hard to engage any child at that point. And so I think, what we're doing is doing it from both sides, making classroom engaging, but making students able to be engaged. And I just read a survey about the mental health benefits of getting children off of screens and cell phones. So I think it's going to be a challenge. I think y'all are doing a fantastic job communicating. I think it's going to take a united leadership front, which we're presenting as best as we can at all levels. And I think if we stick to it, really, I think the benefits are going to start showing themselves over time.
Send all those emails to Ms. Allen.
I see them. My daughter's at Harlem. I see them, and I say kudos to y'all. Put up a good fight. We're with you.
As we finish up, let me just mention the latter end of the superintendent reports, I think, got cut off. We had an interruption in the video, so I think we lost a little bit of that, but from what I understand, it was just the end of my reports, not the rest of the meeting. Is that right, Lawrence?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Just want to let y'all know, we just found out about that.
We're not redoing the whole thing.
Anybody has any questions about something like this, we'll post the whole video that we have too, so they'll be able to access that.
I think it's an excellent time to make the motion that we adjourn.
All in favor? All right, thank you, ladies.